This is a tech festival that brings the community together to share knowledge and new skills with one another.
All right, we're live.
We are live.
We made it. That was a little bumpy road this afternoon.
Yeah,
But
had to use all new gear.
But the upside is next time this is going to go a lot faster.
Hopefully.
So yeah, dude, we made it. We have our special guest today is Danny. Danny, what's your last name again?
Moore, M-O-R-E.
Danny Moore. Danny is our Mike and I are pretty stoked to have Danny with us. He's helping us out through the Work U program at Boise State, which is actually a pretty cool program, and we'll probably get into that a little bit, and
yeah.
I definitely want your take on it. And it's a program that kind of helps students prepare for the business world when they get out and get some stuff on their resume. But yeah, anyways, thanks everyone for joining tonight. We're just kind of cranking out another Hackfort Live. We've been busy working, trying to reach out to people for Hackfort this year, and Mike and I are trying to plan and build for next year as well. That might have been over a lot, but making sure the audio is working.
Yeah.
Funny story for anybody who actually watched our stream last week or 2 weeks ago. My entire audio was just not in it.
Yeah.
Which again, that's like one of the trials and tribulations of OBS. Like if I'm dealing with multiple audio inputs and then also trying to have my microphone work, sometimes if you click one setting wrong. I think we're gonna turn that into a win though. I don't know if Mike told you, Danny.
Yeah.
No.
So I was thinking about that video and I was like, how funny would it be if we actually put in the effort and had me just dub over? And like, even if it was bad, I almost want to like do that.
Well, I had thought about that possibility and even just adding like subtitles or captions for your portion, but yeah, that would be even better to just dub over it, have some funny accent going on there.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be, even if it's just really bad, I think it would be a really funny video. We haven't told Constantine that happened yet, have we?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, he was just like, that's fine. Like, I had fun anyway.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's what we aim for, right? And so that's I don't know. I think it'd be fun if we can find the time to do that and just have me kind of be like, whoa. I think it'd be funny if it was a bad dub. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Or even if it's just completely the wrong question. Like, I think I should just like get a microphone and have Constantine just try to like whatever I'm speaking, like
line it up just as well
Have
as
him
you
say
can.
awful things.
You ever seen those bad lip reading videos where they do that sort of thing? It's like take some stock footage and then just narrate over it with weird commentary.
It's got to be like, it actually has to be pretty bad, or like it's just got to be funny to watch that video. I didn't even, when Mike told me, he's like, it was funny. He was like preparing me for it, and I was like, oh, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it's like,
But-
make sure you're sitting down. I was like, well, actually, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and of course we're in a different location tonight. Mike and I have been wanting to use this table more, and he and I have been just making personal investments. One of those, I mean, I'll get to this tonight. That was something I'm going to talk about. It's a new laptop, and yeah, we're investing so we can actually do a little bit better with the audio and have one audio interface going into my machine controlling all the sound will be very nice, which that's something we've been wanting for a while.
Yeah. We got a nice new microphone that's just sitting in the box. Maybe we can do an unboxing.
Ooh, unboxing video potential.
We can do a lot. I mean, we'll touch on in the news. We'll touch on my new laptop, and then we do have new microphone from Cher. We're gonna give a shot. Seems pretty cool. Yeah, we got options there. So
I just bought an audio interface too.
just because,
Yeah.
like one that's better for you for music and stuff.
Yeah.
Like a lot more inputs and.
It's basically the same kind of audio interface I used to have, but the one I used to have like got stopped being supported since like Windows 7, maybe Windows 8.
Okay.
So every once in a while when I use it, I just get a blue screen of death.
Oh, it's like, hey, you're done.
Yeah. So I just can't do that anymore. So I'm finally modernizing, getting pretty much the exact same hardware, but
Just the updated.
just they decided to,
Make it better.
yeah.
What's the brand? Or who is it?
This one's Native Instruments, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, they're obviously a pretty well-known brand. They make
Yeah.
a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, they're a good one.
Didn't they make the Machine? Is that them? Or is that someone else? No, maybe that's someone else.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, oh, that's awesome. And we ordered an audio. I ordered an H8, which that company pretty standard. They're pretty ubiquitous, but the H8 seems great for podcasting or
Film.
yeah,
too.
film projects and just lots of accessories and expandability, which could be really helpful for us if we want to make just actual video content or. It can handle 12 tracks of audio at once. So,
That's amazing.
and I think it does 4 XLR ins, but they also make an adapter that goes on the front that adds another 4. So it's like if we needed 8, I don't know if so that'll be really cool.
Well, for this mic, it has dual XLR.
It does?
I didn't really.
Wait, it has dual on the bottom?
Well, it's an adapt. So it's a 5-pin, and then it comes with 2 3-pin.
Did they make like an adapter for that? Or like
It came with it.
Oh wow.
So it's left and right channels, so that when you do like stereo mode, it's actually like 2 different
coming out.
sound sources.
For post processing.
So you would split that into 2 inputs. Okay.
So that mic, that cable I brought was just 5 to 3, so it actually like ruins all the cool stuff and just makes it all mono into one signal, which you don't usually want to do. Like, it's fine for podcasting or something, but if you're like trying to record music,
Sure.
it's not as good.
Huh. No, that's cool.
So more inputs are good.
More inputs, more possibilities.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we'll kind of deep dive on you in a minute, Danny. We can just start out with some of the news articles. We were already chatting about some of this stuff when we came at, when we were setting up, but I want to start. This is a good one. Let me switch this over so people can see. But this one is about the Biden administration plans executive order to address chip shortage woes. Right before, when we were setting up, we were talking about trying to get graphics cards. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's a bad time out there.
Yeah, like Danny, you said you were like, oh, maybe I could build a new computer, but maybe I can't, right?
Right. Been thinking about that for probably about a year now, and getting more serious as it's been coming up. But it's just looking at people scrambling all day, every day to try and get the graphics card they want, and tuning into streams when notifications come out of new shipments and things like that. It's just not a good time to be looking for things.
Yeah, and this article kind of goes into, the headline says semiconductor demand is going to drop, but supply has proven to be a problem. And it's crazy. I mean, I think we are dealing with, it's interesting, like pandemic aside, the pandemic has crushed supply chains all over the world, but I think we're also dealing with true demand.
Yeah.
Where even if we didn't have the pandemic, I think these graphics cards and some of these CPUs and just some of that stuff would still be hard to get. And so it's kind of like, I don't know, Armageddon, Chipmageddon. I don't know. Like it's pretty nuts. I mean, even in my day job, we work in schools. A lot of our hardware partners, if we go like, hey, we need new switching, or someone needs a new video surveillance camera, all the processors in those are so hard to get.
Yeah.
And so the lead times on this stuff can be anywhere from 1 month to 3 months to more. And we have to like, customers like, hey, I want to buy this. We're like, great. When do you need it by? And they're like, well, now. We're like, sorry. Like,
Not gonna
you got to place an order, and it's hard because the schools, they desperately need Chromebooks. They need it yesterday, and when they get funding, they're like, we need to spend this, but then they also can't spend it because we can't get it. It's crazy. So like the Biden administration genuinely is like looking into a lot of this, and they're like, okay, we need to do something. We're so dependent on China. It's like, and like,
Yeah. Well, the one like chip manufacturer we have is Micron, like right here in the U.S.
Well, and like Micron, they make chips here, but they also make a lot of their stuff not here. Right?
Yeah,
They design it here,
facilities overseas.
and
Yeah.
but they do make a lot in Boise, actually, surprisingly enough, DRAM and stuff. But
Mhm.
the SSD stuff, I think, might be different fabs, but it's wild. I mean, I built my current computer 2019, and I was like, I had my graphics card. I was like, oh, I'll wait till the next generation to upgrade. Turns out I shouldn't have done that. I should have just bought a new graphics card, and so I'm still running on I'm running a 5-year-old graphics card.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, at least I have a graphics card, but it's like kind of the bottleneck on my machine is just like so apparent, you know, and it's
I
like,
think that's my bottleneck. Either that or my processor. I'm not
yeah,
sure.
I mean, you could upgrade on yours. You could
It's
still,
a 1080.
yeah, I have a 1080 too. Yours is
Oh,
actually
it
like
is.
nicer than mine. Mine's like the reference, I mean, mine's liquid cooled, which probably helps a little bit, but it's not. Yeah, I mean, your machine potentially you could upgrade your CPU to like an i7,
Yeah.
but for the cost, it's like might as well just get a new motherboard and RAM, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, $200-$300 more.
Well, now I'm thinking, should I just get a pre-built PC? Was that the only option?
I mean, that's if you want to get, that is by far the way to go. And it's kind of funny, but I've read a lot of articles about that. Like, just because the HP, all the big computer companies, even like smaller companies that build more custom PCs, they actually do get priority over consumers for the hardware, right? Like, because they need it, and ultimately they're making HP and those guys more money because I mean, they're able to buy at a fixed cost and XYZ. And yeah, I mean, that's something you should actually really consider, Mike. I mean, you can still get a custom PC. There's companies out there, but you're more likely to get a card and you just build a whole new computer. Yeah, you might pay a little bit of a premium, but
It's like the premium
Either
of
that
a
or wait
reservation
6
price.
months.
Yeah, these days.
yeah, I mean, today I got the notifications when they were all in stock, and I had 5 browser tabs. I had both my phones refreshing, hitting buttons, and on Best Buy I got into one card. I got into queue, and then it just gave me this error because it was waiting for inventory, and then it just died, and it's like,
Yeah. I had the same thing.
Frustrating.
yeah, it's something else.
And you start to look at the options of older cards or older generation cards, and those have had their prices and demands bumped up as well. It's like you're going back a couple of generations and paying essentially the retail price that the new cards are supposed to be.
It's insane.
It
Yeah.
just
Okay.
doesn't make sense.
So mine.
I mean, it is kind of nuts. I was looking on eBay, and I think I could sell my card for $400-$500, and it's well, I could be without graphics for a while and just suck it up.
Yeah. Just played PS4 for a while.
I do think if I get my hands on one, I'm gonna immediately put my 1080 on sale because it'll but yeah, it's crazy. Something else, and I don't know the solution. I mean, I imagine the Biden administration is going to try to just look at ways that maybe us start building silicone here, or I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know.
Yeah, I've seen something about discussing a way to include a China-free supply chain, essentially, so that we don't have to depend so much on the overseas business. But
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't really understand. They're like, why is everything in China? And like, it's, if we as a country had stayed with our silicon like backbone when we started, we would be where China is. But we were like, oh, it's cheap. Again, it's cheaper. It was cheaper, and then they built an empire around it. And so the problem is all the material, all the parts, everything is made blocks from where it's manufactured, and so you can't beat that without spending 10 years building the same thing
And a lot of overhead.
and a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it just, unless our government just, I don't know. I don't have a good answer to that. And I think part of it deals with economics and just how we have shifted to a global economy. And the whole, idea that we should be independent from everyone is just unrealistic in almost every way. We need to learn how to work together. So I don't know. I don't have the answer. I'm not a global economic professor, but
It's a complex issue for sure.
Well-
I didn't get a chance to look at this article, but it's essentially saying they're addressing the problem, they're noticing it, and that they have a plan to
they're
do
very
something,
they're
or-
very aware of it because
Yeah.
it is strangling a lot of industries right now.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what comes of it. The
Right.
report just kind of says they're just launching a task force. They're going to look into these supply chains and and see if there's anything they can do from policy, from negotiation, like whatever, like to try to
Right.
help, right? And
Gotcha.
I think that there's just a lot to it, right? And cryptocurrency is another thing throwing in fire, and all that. And
Definitely.
I think it would be cool if AMD and like Nvidia actually teamed up and came up with a way to stop mining on graphics cards that are consumer facing. Like what they should do is like genuinely find a way to be like, no, you can't do that. We'll hardware block it, and then create specific hardware for mining.
Right.
They could still make a shit ton of money, just like, and there are companies that do that, but like the big companies should be like, we are hurting consumers at this point because
And you'd think by dividing those things further, by creating lines that are specifically for mining and specifically for recreation, gaming, things like that, they would make more profit. They would sell more cards, and
I think so.
in the
maybe
long run, it would
and
be better. But
maybe it's an investment thing, and maybe because cryptocurrency is so risky, they're just worried about the capital. There's a lot to it. The next article, just speaking of graphics cards, I just pulled up the AMD will announce next Radeon R6000 GPU on March 3rd. So there's a new
card coming
GPU that we probably all can't get. It'll probably sell out immediately.
Yeah, why would they even?
More cards? I don't know.
Well, it would be great if when a new card did come out, the last card was suddenly available. But
I'm guessing this card's going to be like their budget card, like competing with like the 3060. That's what they're all guessing because they haven't really announced one in that space yet. So it's probably the those are usually the most popular cards, right? Like most people are just like, I just want to play games. I want something that does it okay. They don't need the top of the top.
Totally.
But yeah, anyways, I thought that was funny.
That is interesting.
Is iBuyPower the Walmart brand, or is that something else?
It might be. You're looking at pre-made machines.
Yeah.
Very tempting.
Well, the next thing
Shipping days. Even they're screwed.
I wanted to talk about was my new laptop, and this is like the website for. You guys can see this too. But
Best Buy's iBuyPower. Thanks.
this is the website. Raceus teamed up with this company called Acronym, and it's pretty cool. Like their website's really cool because it has like the laptop and this like bubble sleeve, and the company is a clothing brand, but they like really worked with them on the collaboration. And I like it caught my eye when it came out, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Can
And
you show the camera?
yeah, I might be able to see
Dennis,
if we
look
can.
at this.
Dennis checking it out. I'm gonna change back to the other view. Oh yeah, so you can see that there. it has like actually has an LED display, and you can upload almost any graphic you want. The graphics that are playing are actually designed by the guys from Acronym. Of course, it's not great for your battery life. Like, I think I have the setting turned on right now that if I unplug it, it'll actually deactivate. But again, like, they obviously did a really expensive black paint job on this machine. It came with, and I really do think I'll probably try to do like an in-depth video on all this stuff because it's crazy. But it came with like this brown folder that I opened, and it had like a USB key and a page that was written in hex, and it again, like, they don't give you anything. You plug the key in, and there's software for this piece of software called the Brain, which I actually found out there's even they even mapped a dedicated key for the Brain software. And the Brain's a company that's been around. It's like a organization kind of note-taking kind of piece of software that's kind of, I think there was a lot of like scientific logic around how it's structured. You like create nodes, and then you connect all your thoughts and everything to the main central idea. Well, you load the software, and when you make an account, it knows that you have one of these laptops, and it like automatically starts downloading this special node that's from them. And when I opened that, it just opened a whole bigger can of worms where there's like all this like data, and it's all puzzles. Like, I have no idea what that piece of paper is yet, but I've dug deep enough that now I'm on a Discord, and there's like literally hundreds of people in the Discord, and it's like this augmented reality game where there's like breadcrumbs all over the internet, and you have to like solve all these puzzles to figure out. It's really cool. I mean, it's like, again, it's just a laptop, but it's really cool that they like.
Yeah.
I mean, I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's super neat.
And that being said, the laptop, I mean, the Asus, it's based off the Asus G14. It is a G14. Super powerful laptop for its size. It has the Ryzen 9 processor, 8 cores, 16 threads, 32 gigs of RAM, like a fully discrete NVIDIA GPU. Yet it still manages, like with just day-to-day use, to get like 10 hours on battery life, which is just, to me, I've never seen that in a computer this small. And Asus makes all their new ones that came out this year have the even better processor that's even smaller and more efficient, and like,
wow,
even small, so
what a beast.
props to Asus, really.
Seems
I
like
mean,
they're
I'm
really on top of their laptop game for
they,
sure.
and I've always kind of thought of them as like too kind of gamery, too, like their laptops were like always, but yeah, this is, I guess, a laptop. That's another thing that you can kind of find in stock. The new ones are like
It's true.
hard, but
Just gotta look for something
But the
with
ones that are like $3,000,
good enough airflow.
yeah, I mean,
some of those are in stock because they're super expensive.
but yeah, if you go to the ROG Zephyrus site, it's really cool. I mean, again, like even for Asus, like this laptop barely has an Asus logo on it anywhere, and it's like yeah, it says Zephyrus like right there, and the keyboard is like the most cyberpunk thing. They designed their own like font, which in that key, I was able to install the font into the Windows, and I was able to dig in that thing and find ways to set up my laptop. They like give you suggestions and like,
That's awesome.
Key.
yeah, so that's cool. I think I will probably try to do some kind of in-depth thing on just all the features, and kind of when I learn more about what that whole treasure hunt is.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a Discord, and pretty cool.
Yeah, I wonder what the rewards are.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe there's some final code prize, you find it and you win $1 million or something like that.
It's possible. I mean, all the guy who let me into the Discord said he's like there hasn't been any new breadcrumbs. We think we've solved it. He's like, but time will tell. Like they could just release more stuff.
Right.
And so like, yeah, it's pretty interesting. I haven't had a chance to like really start digging through. I like.
You got to learn cryptography and stuff.
Well, at least I know hex, so I'm like, okay, if I can copy that page and then encode it.
But even that's...
I'm guessing it's like an image or something. It's probably nothing like... But maybe that image gives me another clue to a website.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just... It's fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, I really like that.
What was that? Remember like a web-based riddle game? Oh, what was that called?
That's been kind of like in the
QAnon? That's
Yeah.
another web-based
That's
game.
a fun one.
Yeah, lose a little more than you might
Zest
intend,
riddle, I think.
Oh.
Is that what it was called?
Did you guys ever play any of those like text-based games?
I know what you're talking about. Some of those ones that were like you'd have to open up the like the net code for the page and things and look through, and then you could find like a key and copy and paste it, and then it would be the next stage of it. And that's kind of what I was reminded by when you were talking about the kind of the hidden like cryptic things on your laptop is some of those old web or like text-based games on browser.
Yeah. I remember my brother, like, you know, I remember playing a couple, you know, when you're little, where you're like, you go into a room and like, what do you do? And you're like always trying to figure out even what you can do.
Yeah.
And those were frustrating. But my brother played this like IRC based game that was all online through a chat room, and literally it was the text was always streaming by, and you had to like know how to like input and do things, but it was like all text based. It was just insane to me to watch people play that. Really nerdy. It was like that most hackery looking game I've ever seen. I think it was called Ardwolf. Yeah, I think that's what it was called. And I think it still exists too, which is weird.
I just googled Zest Riddle and it still exists too.
Oh, nice.
Zest Riddle, riddlehell.net. Really old school like puzzle game where you have to like you see codes and like the source code and
Yeah.
Yeah, Ardwolf, that still exists. Ardwolf RPG.
Funny.
Yeah, if you want to go down that rabbit hole.
Dennis says if you want nerdy, look up BBS games.
Okay. Oh yeah. There's a bunch of these older games that are like are they like DOS?
BBS door
Yeah.
games.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Speaking of games, I think the next two I had were kind of game related. The first one, I just kind of wanted to bring this topic back up because I'm still into this game. Cyberpunk 2077's next patch delayed following CD Projekt cyber attack.
Ooh.
Insult to injury for CD Projekt Red. Holy crap. Yeah. Not only did they probably have one of the most like polarizing launches I think I've ever heard of in a game that actually is a good game. I feel bad for them. And I was playing it for a bit and then I decided to kind of take a break to see if they'd patch it more, and I'm just kind of waiting. I feel bad for these guys because they make great games, and like I know, and you can even look it up, like Witcher 3 had all sorts of problems when it came out. Yeah. And they just kept patching it, you know, but like now I just think because of social media and just like everybody's so hyper aware and connected, it's like, I mean, if I was CD Projekt, I'd probably never make an announcement about a game ever again until it's like triple alpha, like ready. I don't know. But yeah, then they got hacked and someone sold their source code in an auction online.
Wow.
That is crazy.
It's bad. It's awful. And like,
They must be having a rough go of it.
Yeah.
Like as you mentioned, when Witcher 3 came out, it wasn't a spotless game at all, but it didn't have the hype behind it that Cyberpunk 2077
So,
did.
you know, and it was. Cyberpunk was really hyped.
And
I joked. I was like, I'm going to fall on a sword for this game, even if it's terrible. And then it turns out it was just a disaster when it came out. And
yeah,
I think I still will fall on a sword for it. I love it. I think it's a really cool game. And I just hope they... I don't know.
Yeah, I'll play it.
I just wait.
Once they patch.
If you haven't bought it, I'd just wait. You know, I mean.
Yeah.
The other game I wanted to chat about was Republic Commando. Did you guys play that game?
Oh yeah, I bought it when it came out.
I never actually played Republic Commando, but every one of my friends that love Star Wars games says it's like the best Star Wars game ever.
It's good. I think it's maybe a little
outdated.
Like we look at it with like rose-colored glasses. Like
it's like one of those things. As you played it, and it was good back then.
It's got that nostalgia factor behind it, I suppose.
It's not like revolutionary. It wasn't revolutionary for its time, even like.
Yeah.
but it was a Star Wars game.
Yeah.
You know, first-person shooter. So that was cool. But you had like a squad with you, and you could like tell them to go places and do something.
Yeah, you could like command them. Yeah.
But you could only command them like at predetermined areas. Like, go take cover there. Like at this place where you're allowed to take cover at. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of cool.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, it's a game I've wanted to try.
Yeah.
And so yesterday they announced they're re-releasing it as a PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch exclusive.
Huh.
Which is, that's cool.
It's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll be interested to play it again. I hope it's like $5 or something.
I'm almost like tempted to get it for the Switch.
Yeah.
It's interesting they decided to put it on PlayStation 4 instead of. Are they planning to port it to PS5 as well? Or?
I'm guessing because the PS5 can play PS4 games, like
Right.
maybe they were just like, well, we're not gonna upscale it for the PS5, like because they apparently they upscaled it for Xbox One, right? And that's what I read, and I didn't even know. And I remember we posted it in our friend chat. Everyone was like, "What? I didn't know that!" Like,
I didn't either.
so I don't know. That's cool. I mean, some
Yeah.
Star Wars games are really good, and some are really bad. So this is one everyone seems to like.
It's a good one.
Yeah. In that same light, didn't LucasArts get the rights back to make Star Wars property?
Yeah, or
again?
they just kind of
EA doesn't have exclusive.
Yeah.
exclusive
yeah. So like
rights
EA
anymore.
still gets to make games too, but they are fine. They're kind of going back to LucasArts. Is my understanding is it's like they're gonna have like a central agency that then controls the IP of the games. Because I think they realize like why are we letting one studio make all these games when like they're consistently not great. So like and like a good example of that though is the Fallen Order, which I haven't played yet, which I hear is really good. That was made by what's their face, the guys who made Apex Legends. Respawn. Yeah, Respawn, which I love Respawn. Like they did Titanfall. Yeah, it was Respawn.
They did. I'm pretty sure that's.
So that was like kind of an example, and I think Respawn might be associated with EA at this point a little bit. But they like Respawn is the group of guys who started Respawn came from the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Like they pretty much like I would say defined modern shooters in a lot of ways.
Definitely.
So I love their stuff. Like I loved Titanfall 2. I thought that was like one of the funner games.
Still hoping we'll get a Titanfall 3.
Everybody keeps hoping. At least Apex is kind of tying
a
little bit of that world together.
It's in the universe. So that's
yeah. Yeah. Again, that's another really fun one.
Definitely.
Apex is too hard. God, I suck at it.
People are too good at Apex.
It was like, the learning curve on that game is kind of brutal, actually.
And you get to...
Warzone.
Yeah, on PC, everybody's just like flick headshots you in like 0.5 seconds. It's real hard to get into once in a while.
Yeah.
Well, the other article I wanted to just briefly chat about, and we were talking about this yesterday, Mike. HP goes harder on gaming and buys HyperX for $425 million. I have a lot of friends who like their headsets. I mean, it's interesting for HP to kind of just go, hey, we're going to do this.
Yeah. I mean, their gaming peripherals are successful. Like, they're like one of the few areas at HP that actually makes money.
That's funny. Well, I actually do think their laptops and their desktops are actually pretty good. I've recommended them to friends. The reviews are good. The cost is usually pretty good.
Still struggle with putting way too much bloatware on them, but...
Yeah. But you could re-image it. You can just...
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. You know, in HP, they have a big office here in Boise, so it's just kind of cool that they're... it's like their printer division. Maybe it's not that big anymore.
Not so big anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, they still have a presence here.
It'd be interesting to see, if that's kind of a start into like getting more into their gaming hardware, or what they really want to do with that.
Well, I think if they're smart, they will just let HyperX stay HyperX and don't touch it.
Yeah.
Because I think HyperX is doing a good job. So like, I wouldn't.
They could probably like take a lot of their designs and make Omen versions.
Yeah, we'll see. You know, maybe they'll do both. But yeah, that I don't know. That was just interesting news. So,
Yeah.
oh, I think the last one I just wanted to briefly gloss over. There's a really big rumor that Apple, the new iMacs, are going to be colored again, like the original iMac. And the other reason that got me a little excited is if you guys don't remember the original iMac, like those were kind of groundbreaking when they came out. It was like the tube TV that was clear plastic.
Oh yeah.
But it was technically the first computer to ever ship with a modem and like ready to go, like internet out of the box. And honestly, the design was so ahead of everything else. I mean, it was beige, like central.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of cool. It'd be interesting if Apple like anodized the new iMac to be like super colorful or something. Like, I mean, I probably would never buy an iMac again, but I still think it's cool that they're bringing that back.
Yeah.
I mean, when it came out, man, I remember it had a CD drive. I remember we had one in our class, and there was just all this cool stuff you could do with it. But,
Yeah, I remember those. And that scene from Zoolander that sticks out the most.
How do we get the files out of the computer?
yeah, and that was 100% an iMac. So, how do we get the files out of the computer? That is the right question. Well, awesome. Well, that's what I had for the news. So,
Some exciting stuff.
yeah, not bad. I think tech has been pretty exciting the last few years, even through the pandemic.
One more thing
Oh.
I thought we should maybe talk about if you heard about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. What is it?
I mean, did you see Australia and
Facebook?
Facebook
Ooh.
and Google? That is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, the short story of that, Mike, is right. Facebook basically blocked all news
Yeah.
because
No news.
Australia wanted something. What did they want exactly?
Australia, it wanted crazy things. First of all, they were like totally unrealistic and like kind of corrupt. Like
Yeah.
you can tell it was News Corp that like pushed that through. But they wanted like any shared links to like news sites, like Facebook would have to pay
Yeah.
those
I just pulled
sites.
up an article. It says
Even if-
Australia passes law to make Google, Facebook pay for news.
Yeah, and Google just paid. Like
Google's like, okay.
Google's just like paid News Corp, I think, like a bunch of money, and just kept going.
Yeah, and Facebook basically made it
Facebook's
so
like,
if you try to
nope.
like share a news link, it like pops up a window that says like, sorry,
Your
there's a
government's being unrealistic.
Weird.
So yeah, this is actually pretty cool though, because like news probably shouldn't be on Facebook anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping like this is a cool like real world test case on like suddenly like Australia just becomes a better place.
It'll
Like,
be
overnight.
Because people don't get their news.
It'll be interesting
Yeah.
to see what what comes from this, right? Because clearly it shows the power of Facebook, but it also shows I don't know, countries battling social media, battling.
It
I don't know
is-
who's gonna win.
It is. There's a lot wrong with a lot of it.
on
like-
levels on levels.
On levels. Like it really hurts like small news companies. If Facebook decides you're a news company and you're small, then suddenly you have like no chance to market your stuff. So it's really only like helps the big news corporations.
It's almost like the same dilemma we're running into with the internet, like net neutrality, right?
Uh-huh. It's
Like,
totally net neutrality.
The little guy can't pay, but the big guy can. So it's like, oh, I'll just pay you to have dedicated, priority for access, for people accessing our website. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's bad. So, yeah, I don't.
It's I don't often side with Facebook, but I'm totally siding with Facebook on this one.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, they're supposed to be open, right? But that's what their whole thing is. Like, they want to be neutral, but they also can't be neutral.
Yeah.
I don't really know where the line is. I mean, and I even when Trump got banned, I'm kind of like, ooh, all right, like we're, like,
That one, and then Facebook's whole like Supreme Court
Yep.
content. That's, I think, a pretty awesome idea.
But at least after like the Trump thing and all that, like all these organizations have flat out told the government we are all on board for some type of regulation, because they don't want it to be on them.
Yeah.
They want,
Yeah, but the government doesn't know anything.
yeah. So it's hard. I mean, I get that. I mean, I don't know. It's
It's a
Weird
lot.
dilemma.
yeah. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Talk nothing about. Just talk about that.
We could do a whole episode on that.
Yeah.
The social dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's
Yeah.
cool. I'm gonna keep my eye on what becomes of that.
Yeah, we can come back to that. I don't think this is the end. I mean, I think all those topics are going to be around for a bit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, Danny, this is usually kind of an icebreaker I like to start with any of our guests, and kind of tell me like where, what was like your first experience in your life with technology? And that could be kind of broad. Like it could be video games, it could be computer, but I'm just kind of curious like where that came into your life. And like, what your first
technology experience. Well, growing up in my house, we were kind of a frugal family, and we valued traveling more than any of those fancy like gadgets and gizmos. We used to have an old CRT box TV. I remember that, and the computer monitor that we first had was a block as well, and dial-up internet. I can recall up until like my earlier late junior high days, until we decided internet was kind of becoming essential for education. But I'd say my first real technology experiences and when I was kind of drawn into technology was through video games for sure, and looking at wanting a Game Boy or a Nintendo DS, and started out with Nintendo for games, and progressed into Xbox, and then through PlayStation, and then onto PC. So I've been kind of around the block with all the different types of technology involved in gaming. And once I was into gaming, it was like technology and the potential that it holds was just kind of like, I want a lot of my entertainment to be involved in technology, and spend time on a computer for work and leisure and things like that. So yeah, technology's always been a pretty big part of my life, and a good source of entertainment, I'd say, as I was growing up.
what was your first game console? What Game Boy was it?
First Game Boy was a Game Boy Color.
Okay.
My grandma got me for Christmas one year. I
Awesome.
remember.
Nice.
Do you remember what game it came with?
I think I started out with Pokemon Gold.
Awesome.
Wow.
If
Good
I'm
games.
remembering correctly. Yeah, it was really good. It was a perfect introduction to gaming. So
It's so funny. Like I remember when Pokemon came out, I was like, "Oh, this game's so dumb." And then one of my friends was like, "No, you should probably try it." And then and that was on the original Game Boy, and it was so good. I think I had Blue, but like, yeah, I mean, fast forward to now, it's like a multi-billion-dollar empire,
Seriously.
and like,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't knock those games really. I think they're great.
yeah.
I still never
Ours-
played any.
Nerd.
None of the Pokemons?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I played
Well,
Pokemon Snap. Does that count?
I mean,
Gets
it's like
roped in.
the least fun Pokemon game,
I
but
played Pikachu and Super Smash sometimes.
not a bad Super Smash if you
Yeah,
know what you're
yeah.
doing.
That's
I actually thought their movie was one of the first like video game movies that was actually good.
which one was it?
I didn't see that.
The
Pokemon
Detective
for-
Pikachu.
Oh, Detective Pikachu.
It was
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Like it actually had a good story and like wasn't. Yeah, it just didn't really focus on probably what fans wanted,
right.
but they created a really livable world that again I enjoyed that movie. Ryan Reynolds played Pikachu too, and he was freaking hilarious. So
Yeah.
maybe that was part of it.
I thought it was well made for sure.
Yeah.
And definitely seeing like just all the different varieties of Pokemon from the different generations and things like popping up in different kind of their natural environments in the movie was interesting
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah, that was fun. So, fast forwarding a little bit, I mean, so, you've been with gaming and using that in part of your life, for entertainment, etc. Like going into school and college, like has that influenced like kind of where you want to go as a student or?
I'm sure it has. I think these days technology is involved in pretty much everything we do, and just we're so connected, and I mean, just like the possibilities of this internship during what we're going through right now in the pandemic, I don't think that this would have happened or been possible if we didn't, we weren't able to connect through video chat and
Totally
instant
That's
message and
actually
things
true,
like
yeah.
that. So, there's certain ways that it's like a lot of people think we're getting just so wrapped up and obsessed with technology, but I think it's just opening new doors in every way, and who knows where it'll all end up. And as we're kind of, these things like our phones are kind of like an extension of ourselves and our computational power these days. It's like we're reaching a new kind of revolution, and like maybe computers will be part of our brains, and however many years down the lines, and that'll change everything. And it's exciting.
Have you read much about like Neuralink, like Elon Musk's
I've
kind
looked
of
into
brain
it a little
interface?
bit. It's like I said, that's one of those things people are hesitant, and it's like I can understand, but we got to move forward somehow, and there's only so many improvements you can make to
Can't beat
graphics
'em, join 'em.
processing and things like that. So
Yeah, it is kind of one of those things. I mean, it's technology is an inevitability, really, and I'm one of those people as like an optimist. Like I want to believe that ultimately we, people want to use technology to save mankind, to push us forward.
for sure.
I just want to stay positive, but of course there's all the bad implications of AI and robots, whatever, right? But
Right.
like I think ultimately, we wouldn't even be exploring space right now if we weren't curious enough to push it
Truly.
out there, right? And
Yeah.
of course there's war, there's all those horrible things, and technology also comes out of that, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be dead before war kills us, but who knows? Maybe war will kill us before. But I think technology is the key to helping us survive, right?
Totally.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big mystery, but I guess that's kind of the fun of it. It's like you never know where things are gonna end up, and it's like I always look at what we have right now and think, as I said, how can we improve? But you look 10 years ago and where we were at, and we thought that was the peak of innovation, and things have really changed a lot since then. So
Yeah.
it's exciting.
So tell us a little bit so people could kind of learn about, like, tell us about the Work U program. Like, how did you come about that? Like, and kind of explain what it is.
Yeah. So funny enough, last semester, this would be fall 2020, I was looking at possibilities of doing an internship, and learned about this program called Work U, and they essentially take students in a program and they assign them to different internship possibilities, and they connect them to an organization and sign them up with a supervisor, and then in addition to doing that internship, you have like a weekly meeting session where you meet with everybody else who's in the program and discuss, what's going on and what you've been doing and things like that. So last semester I applied to do Work U, and I was placed with the Idaho Food Bank, I think, and they accepted me, and they did like an interview, and then it was a week into the semester, and I was supposed to be starting to work with them, and they said, we're really sorry, but with things going the way they are, and we just don't think we're going to have the bandwidth and the capacity to like handle working with you this semester. So I managed to land a different internship last semester, but kept Work U kind of on the back burner as an option, and applied this semester and got signed up with you guys, and it worked out perfectly. So
when you sign up for the program, do they like kind of do an assessment to kind of how did you get matched with us? I'm actually kind of curious about that.
When you sign up, they have a list of the different, I guess, the people that they've
Available,
talked to
yeah.
and that have agreed to take on interns. and you can essentially pick your top 3 choices of people who you'd like to work with, and then write like a little paragraph description of why you think you'd work well with them. I think you guys were my top pick, followed by...
Of course, you would say that.
Oh, I'm pretty sure, if I can recall correctly.
Did you know what Hackfort was when you saw us?
I'd heard of you guys. I'd never really looked into what was
Mm-hmm.
involved, and I knew of the association with Treefort, obviously. So that was kind of my main knowledge of Hackfort. But
No, that's awesome.
yeah,
No, that's really cool.
They're emailing me trying to get the application for the next semester too.
Oh God.
The deadline's in like 3 days,
Uh-oh.
so we should probably talk about that. I want another work. We probably should in fall when we actually have to do Hackfort.
yeah, extra
Yeah.
workload.
But maybe the position would be a different position.
Yeah. Or we might just skip and go to next fall.
We could just say it's Treefort.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk to Allie and see, but yeah. Anyways, I mean, Danny, I think it's cool that we got to have you, and I'm excited you were able to kind of pick and choose, and Mike and I are just 2 really big nerds, so
Oh, yeah.
I hope
No,
you're. I actually just noticed while you were talking that you're wearing a really cool Zelda shirt.
happy
so.
to be here,
That is awesome.
repping my Zelda merch. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
a big nerd too. I love technology and all things internet, and
Yeah.
so it's good to hang out with you guys and just chat, because you guys are interested in a lot of the same things that I am. And
Totally.
this semester is kind of weird in terms of still some strangeness with COVID and all those things, but I think it's been a good opportunity, and I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
seeing where it takes me.
Hopefully we get it, as much hands-on as we can get you, and with this podcast, you've already done a lot of cool stuff to help Mike and I kind of organize our strategy online, and we really appreciate that.
For sure.
Mike showed me some of the stuff you worked on, and I was like, awesome, that's all the things we talk about doing and haven't had the time to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and hopefully we'll keep you involved in helping out with the podcast and
Yeah.
all that.
We,
Well, actually even doing a podcast. So right now we're just on YouTube and on Twitch, but
Exactly.
hopefully we can pull all that out. And
Yep. We're gonna start taking over the content universe.
Yes. Branch into every category you can.
Yeah.
yeah. And hopefully also plan an event too.
You hope so.
Yeah, we're working on that. Definitely with the pandemic, it's a little different.
We should live stream our just event planning meetings.
Do you think that, it'd be entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and I just be like, no, let's do it this way. No, let's do it
No,
this way.
let's-
Nah.
Do we want,
I don't know.
Do
Do
we
we wanna
want
do
this
that?
person? No, this person sucks.
Listed
Do we
as
want this person? Yes, they're awesome.
Put it up as an IRL stream and see who tunes in.
We throw a lot of spaghetti at the wall. That's for sure.
Dude.
Mike
Like,
Mike
should we email
spent.
them?
Yeah.
Why not?
You did spend an absolute insane amount of time building us an Airtable.
I really did. It
I'm-
was like 12 hours straight.
And of course, I'm like constantly like, Mike, can we do it this way? And you're like, yes, we can. But
You did some double entry, but you figured out that was wrong.
I did. Listen, man, I just started using this software.
I know.
But I see the benefit. I'm really happy you did that investment. I think it's going to save us an insane amount of time in the future. And that's the
Insane.
whole point, right? And
Insane amount.
hopefully we can just start automating more things with it.
We can make forms in there.
I saw that. So yeah, our data entry is going to be clutch.
So
Because I think we could also associate the forms with the users,
Yep.
and then boom.
Yep.
So yeah, that I saw that, and I was like, but I also was like, how fast are we gonna go through 1,000 records?
We might go through them kind of fast.
So we might have to really talk to the team about, hey, Mike and I want this as an investment.
I think,
I want a budget for it.
yeah.
Is that the limit for the free version? Of
Yeah, it's 1,000 records, but that's like 1,000 primary keys or whatever, right? So it's like
Yeah. It's
1,000 lines.
I think in like
Just enough
A
to get you
year.
hooked.
it might be cutting it close.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to be adding too many more people. The next hack for it, maybe
Yeah.
the next one will add a bit more, but still not probably as big as this one. We had like 7. We planned an amazing Hackfort that no one got to see. Sean.
I know. Stop reminding me.
Oh my god, it was so good.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that was hard. That was hard to swallow, Dan.
Yeah.
We worked our heart and soul into that, and of course a pandemic happened, and
Yeah, I can't imagine.
we've really just been kind of picking up the pieces. And luckily, though, I mean, the community's been great. Everyone's been supportive. You know, it's just
Yeah.
we're kind of both. I think Mike and I are a little slower than normal getting it back together, but
I can
Well,
understand. Yeah.
It's also you're like the busiest person alive lately, so
yeah, one more month, and I'll kind of have a little bit of my freedom back.
I'm sure it's not great for the motivation when all that work it's like gone in a second, and then you gotta
Yeah, it's
like
just-
pick up the scraps for next year. Like,
You know,
so-
and at least we have scraps to pick up,
Right.
right? We're not starting from scratch, but
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I mean, it's work, and hopefully we can pull you into some of that too. And
for sure.
we're gonna
yeah,
do-
I'll definitely make a point if Mike and I set up a call to try to invite you, just so you can see what a prospect call is like or whatever. I enjoy doing those quite a bit.
Sounds good. Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but it's fun. I'm good at selling Hackfort.
You know, I always thought those are like that's good content. Like
Me just talking to someone on the
yeah, like
giving the Hackfort
Yeah,
elevator pitch and
giving
being
the
like,
pitch,
"You
yeah.
in?"
that could be like we could just record it and make videos.
Yeah.
Cause you know, like when we talk to like Chris Cross or like
Oh, they're always fun phone calls because
Yeah,
it's like,
or
oh,
Dan
what do you do?
Silvano.
Like, oh, like I
I'm
created this
interested
video
in
game.
this.
Like, are you kidding me?
yeah,
Like,
we just like talk about how cool their hobby is or whatever they're interested in, and like
yeah, and that's the
no
type
one
of
got
people,
to see that. Like just you and I saw that in a like Zoom call.
or a phone call. Yeah, I mean, it was seriously like, holy crap! I really hope we can, fix that going forward.
Yeah, I mean
We
that's
will.
kind of what we're doing here too. Like
Yeah,
sometimes we'll interview people, and it's a little different though when like there's an audience
mm-hmm.
or somebody thinks there will be an audience later. Like they act different.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So
You know, I think a lot of the people we end up choosing are definitely more A-type personality, but not all of them, right?
yeah,
People that are pretty good getting in front of a crowd and sharing their passion, you know.
yeah.
And, yeah, well,
I like the ones that are not comfortable doing that, but
still do a really
but
good
still
job.
yeah, like Robin Fink.
Yeah, Robin Fink, that was something else. He's the lead guitarist from Nine Inch Nails.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I was like, Nine Inch Nails is easily one of my favorite bands, and like, Janessa was like, "Hey Sean, will you just like take care of Robin Fink all day?" I was like, "What?"
It's like, excuse me.
And I just had to like hang out with him and make, and he was beyond. This guy plays sold out stadiums all over the world,
Yeah.
and he was beyond scared to give
Really?
his talk in front of like 30 nerds. And it was interesting, right? And of
Yeah.
course he does it and kills it.
It
But
was
like
so
he
good.
he was literally like almost like, yeah, he had to like go outside and like
That's
get air
crazy.
before, and
Did
like
he-
nicest guy in the world. Like,
Yeah, and did he mention he gets that stage fright when he performs as well, or is that
No, he's just like,
a
he
public speaking type
like,
thing?
no, he was just,
Yeah,
he's just
it
like,
was
oh yeah,
speaking.
it was just,
It's
I think it was just, afraid of speaking, and
Yeah.
also like, again, I get it. He was doing something he'd never done before.
Right.
He went
totally
to
outside your element.
he went to a tech conference, like on a bunch of, on the technology, all that stuff, right? And he talked about, I mean, it was crazy because it was like art, what he ended up doing, because he like poetically talked about his experience making music for video games,
Yeah.
and I mean, it was a story.
But it was
It was nuts.
It was such a good presentation.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Do we have that somewhere?
I don't. Does
I have a recording of his like live performance that night at like the smallest venue, but
I
yeah,
haven't seen any video of it.
yeah. He's like on my list of like, oh, maybe we should try to reach out to Robin Fink again. I think I might have his email somewhere.
Yeah.
But if he's like, oh well, let me bring Trent, like I would faint and like drop my phone or something. So
Yeah. That would be kind of cool.
yeah, so yeah. Well, I think that's about it, guys. Unless you have any questions for Danny, Mike, or
I mean, what are you most excited about tackling, I guess, this semester?
Well, specifically in this internship, I'm excited about getting the audio only format version of the podcast going, because I think that'll, maybe rope in some new listeners and people who aren't necessarily into the video format, and bring them into being interested in Hackfort, and potentially looking forward to attending the event when it does happen.
That'll be cool.
So, yeah.
Speaking of that, I probably need to upload all the videos, don't I?
Yeah.
So I made that share folder, but I didn't upload everything else. So
there's like 3 in there.
I'll get that going.
I was actually able to get most of the audio I needed just from a YouTube.
Just downloading the YouTube
converter.
file.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Does the audio sound good?
It sounded pretty decent to me, but I'm not a real hi-fi
It'll be
singing
compressed.
person, so
Coming off of the YouTube track, it would be compressed a little bit. I think for our purposes, we'll probably fine.
Yeah, we're doing a single omnidirectional mic.
It'll get better. We'll be in high fidelity in 5 years, maybe.
Yeah.
The next one, with your Shure mic. Oh, I can't wait for the next one. It's gonna be.
Yeah, we can both have our own monitors. This has its own monitor port too.
We'll be monitored. We have our own mics. We need one more.
I know. We'll get there. But you do kind of have one more.
Yeah, we do. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I'm excited that you get to tackle that. And hopefully we'll get you onto our social media here soon too, so we can start doing some content marketing on those channels.
For sure. And promoting some of the other things.
Yeah.
Sounds
Are we
great.
gonna do Hackfort happy hours?
As of right now, probably not. But, if things change this summer, maybe. I just think it's too hard to really put a finger on it right now. I know that, our sponsors would probably be into it, maybe. Again, it's just with the pandemic, I just don't know if it's really... We're there yet.
Yeah.
I would love to bring Hackfort Happy Hour back. I was honestly, Hackfort Happy Hour would become one of our live streams, right? Yeah. And we can just turn that into a video, which ideally I want to do.
Yeah.
Because that could be twice a month.
We could.
Or once a month at least, and
put that in the podcast too.
So, yeah. Hopefully we'll get that back. I mean, I'm hoping next year at the minimum, right? But, yeah. No, Hackfort Happy Hour is great.
Cool.
Free beer and tech talks, and geeking out and meeting people.
Doesn't get much better than that. Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, we'll work on it.
Do virtual ones. But
everybody tune in on Zoom or Google Hangout or something.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same.
Not quite. What do you think for our audio podcast? We kind of Sean plays the intro and outro.
Outro music. I think that works just fine for an audio format as well.
Should we probably...
We could create something that's a little more polished.
Should we probably start and finish with the same kind of script? Or not finish with the same script.
Yeah.
With podcasts, you can have kind of a...
More of a formulaic...
An intro. You could do it that way.
Yeah.
We could also do a separate...
Pre-record one.
We could do a
intro?
separate pre-recording for each episode, too. Where one of us gets on a mic. We could even alternate, we're welcome to the blah, blah, blah.
Introduce it.
Yep.
Yeah. Especially if you have a guest, too, to just, right out the gate say, we have a special guest with us, blah, 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 and...
Yep. And then you kind of fade into the actual cut-in that we did now, right?
Right.
So, that's something we can do. It's a part of it.
Well, that's up to Danny.
Yeah, we'll let Danny...
Right.
If he needs me to record something and read a script, I'll do that, no problem.
Yeah. It's on their
Think
table.
about
He
the
just
possibilities.
needs to assign us, and we'll
I mean, next step we start getting a sponsor, and then we'll be like, "This is brought to you by
There you go.
HP HyperX."
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
it's always Raycon earbuds, you know.
Yeah.
Or Raid Shadow Legends, one or the other. I'm convinced those things
Or
are.
NordVPN.
Yeah,
NordVPN, yeah, baby.
Yeah, I'm convinced those Raycon earbuds are not the greatest based on how much they've spent on all their YouTube advertisers.
I mean,
Oh my God,
I know what it is now.
That's another black hole you just made me think
Effective.
about, Danny, and I think I'm definitely gonna table that for another Hackfort Live. But Chinese earphones,
Ah,
holy crap!
like the knockoff brands and things.
Yes, and or real brands that are usually parts of big conglomerates that make really expensive headphones, but then the tiny companies in China make the exact same headphone for literally fractions on pennies for the same, and it's the same. And I recently stumbled into that whole world, and I'm kind of blown away by it. Yeah,
That'd be
that's
an
something I'm
interesting
like
one to
interested
look
in.
into. Yeah.
But yeah,
yeah. I mean, the parts that they use for those headphones, like earbuds,
yeah, it's
like
it. Yeah.
can't be very.
Well,
much.
our friend Vlad, like he bought all these $10 headphones and gave them to us, and I put them in.
So they sound. I haven't tried them yet.
They sound amazing for $10. They sound insane,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and they're $10 headphones, and it's like they're the equivalent of like $100 headphone. Basically, it's a single driver, but like that same company makes a 4 driver, 1 dynamic, so it's like 4 tiny tweeters and 1 like dynamic, bigger speaker. It's like I found it on Amazon for like $40, and I went and looked at like these hi-fi headphone review site, and they're like, yeah, these are incredible in-ear monitors, like they are incredible, and it's like, okay, I mean, a lot of them you actually have to have an expensive DAC to even appreciate how good they are, which is like, yeah, again, another like whole black hole that I've stumbled across with headphones and China.
Yeah, that's
So.
a funky one.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, I think we'll give that a wrap.
What's the name of that brand, Sean? I'm sorry.
I mean, we can go there. Again,
Influencers and
you can look up the company Lin Sol and then look at all their subsidiaries and find a lot of headphones.
cool.
Cheap headphones.
Do I have to buy them on the dark web or?
Nope, Amazon.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep. All right. Well, I think we're going to call that a wrap, guys. Thanks again, Danny, for joining us.
Happy
Thank
to
you.
be here.
All right. We're going to play some music and get out of here.
Bye.